All right, how we all doing? Let's make sure we got everything okay. There we go. Hey, Saint, how you doing? Lucifer, doing well, thank you. Thank you all for joining again tonight. I'm doing good, Glitch. Thank you. It's been a interesting week, but yeah, doing all right. What's up, Oyster? Arthur's here too. We got the whole crew here tonight. Stony. I don't think it's the most easiest at the moment. I'm sure if you really knew exactly how to extract content from El Dorito, you probably could get content like the BSP and everything in, but there's a lot of missing information like collision and other generated items that the engine does that I'm not sure you'd be able to extract or not. It's certainly not out of the realm of possibility, but I think it just would take too long. Oh yeah, I think Reclaimer is probably the best bet, Arthur, on that one. I haven't messed around with the textures actually being already set up, but okay, good, yeah. Well, like the title of the stream says, tonight we are just focusing on kind of providing tutorials. So ideally, if anybody has any questions or they want to learn how to either install tools, the process for bringing models, setting up shaders, setting up materials, it's kind of more or less a continuation of my existing tutorial stream. It's just quicker for me to make a stream and answer direct questions that hopefully could provide a more broader audience answer for just questions that more people probably would have. So if you the only things that I really can't give 100% answers to is probably everything that doesn't have to do with visual content, so like weapon tags, vehicle tags, anything with the bipeds. I know how to change assets in them, and I know where certain tag blocks, like where the first person offsets are, where you put models and everything in, but rate of fire, damage, projectiles and everything, I don't really experiment with that stuff too much. But visually, visual assets I do most work in with the mod tools, so that's hopefully what we'll go over with tonight. I've got like a speck of water in my glasses. Hold on, I'll read chat here when I can finally see. Ooh. So glitch UI elements. That's another thing. I don't mess with the HUD. There is a CHUD HUD. There's a CHUD definition tag in Reach, and it's definitely more of a visual editor in Reach. It's not something I'm really familiar with, nor I have actually not messed with anything HUD related in Halo 3 for a whole year. Actually, I just haven't really touched any of the icons or anything, so haven't done that. Arthur, how do you create, import, adjust custom skyboxes and sunlight source? Okay, this is actually a good one. So I know that I had trouble in the past, and this was like way early on with the tools when they just came out last year for Halo 3. But the tools have gotten better over time, so I think it should be more consistent. So you can extract skies from Halo 3 with the tools that come, the mod tools. Halo Reach you cannot right now. We can't extract import info from Halo Reach like we can for 3, so we can't get the actual source file that Bungie compiled and put into the engine. However, what we can do is with Halo 3 is we can import an existing sky, and then I can tell you what the number is in Blender that you can change the sun direction. Now, I do believe it might work the same in Reach. I imported the sky from Halo 3 into Reach, and it had the same direction. You definitely had to add more sun intensity and a couple other variables, but if you just want to do the source of the sun, we can do that. Okay. Let's go to Blender. First things first, though. So I have a Soyuz. I gotta make sure I'm on Halo 3 real quick. You can do a custom tool command, and what we want is, let me look it up real quick. 1 second. We want to get the import info. And it's going to look something like this. You want to start off the command with extract import info, and then you want the directory of that file. And they have to have the render model after it. But it would be where the sky is. So you want to extract the sky render model, and then you run it, you know, blah, blah, blah. It would do that. So when you get it, I'm going to chat real quick, sorry. So let's go in here. So we're in Blender now. You want to go to File, Import, and you want to look for the Halo Jointed Model Skeleton. You want to go to Halo 3, your data folder. And you want to go to Levels. Let's see, a multiplayer map. I should have Deadlock Sky. So go in here, then you have the Skybox. Import that. That'll just take a second. Or longer, depending on your computer. And immediately what you're going to see is you're going to see a bunch of these lines. And what these are is the skylights. And I believe the reason, there's a presentation out there somewhere, but Bungie got really sophisticated with HDR in Halo 3, especially with their skyboxes. And I believe this has something to do with that. So you're going to see all these skylights here on the right side. They're all important. You need to have them. If you zoom out, and you can't see it right now, you have to change your view distance from clip start. I say just give it a 1. And just make it like 1,000,000 or something. But now you can see the actual level, or the sky geometry, like the clouds. And there's a sky dome here. Probably put another 0 here so it doesn't freak out. Or maybe I need a 3. There you go. So yeah. Anyways, so you go in here. And you can see where your skybox is. But for the direction, you go all the way down here. All the way down. It's usually skylight 199. And you go to the light property here. I don't know if you can see right here, but it's highlighted with that little yellow sphere. That kind of shows you the direction that the sun's coming. So if I'm looking at the water in the lake at high ground, it's coming from that direction. So you want to go change, let's see, go in here, you see the rotation is set right here. You can just rotate it around. Yeah, so like the Y, you can change where it's located up. Z, I believe, is just like the direction. And then the height is probably X. Yes. So, oops. Oops, daisy. So that's how you do it. To generate a sky with the Halo tools, you go to the Halo Sky tools. And this is if you have something brand new. you would just hit generate sky and it would generate these skylights, and then you can export. It has stuff for the altitude and heading here, but I've noticed it doesn't really match up sometimes with what you like. This is better for people who are making custom skies because there's not like a predefined direction that you're trying to match. But if you're porting a map from Halo 2, inputting what the tag says in Gorilla is the direction and the radius of the sun, or the altitude and heading, doesn't actually line up. So I wouldn't do that if I was you. I would just kind of guesstimate it. What I do sometimes is I take a cube in the level, and if I go to lighting here, it's probably not going to work on stream. I can't remember if I have to do it in cycles or not, but I like to crank the strength right here. And you might want to reset it every time you export, or at least have the original number. But that way you can see what the shadow direction is. If you put a cube or another mesh object in the scene, then you can get kind of a good idea where that should be giving shadows. So yeah, unfortunately this, oh, and then so you go to File, Export, JMS, you know, Halo 3, you know, you export it, and then when you go into your tools, there is a sky check mark here. But what I've found out is that if you check that sky, your sky needs to be self-illuminated. If you import it normally, I think it doesn't matter if it's self-illuminated or not. So that's what you have to mess with, but either check sky render or don't check sky render. Just make sure you grab the right JMS file you want to import and just import the model. Lucifer, you're making burgers. You want one? Yeah, I would love one. Medium done, please. Medium cooked, sorry. So there's no way to export existing models with their markers then from Reach. No, not right now. And I'll show you something that's interesting. So let's see. You've got that extract import info command from Halo 3. If you go in here, and if I just type that, there is an option, but it doesn't do anything. So if I went to, let's go to Open Toolkit folder. If I go to, let's just go to tags, levels, multi, let's do settlement. You know, shift, where is it? Shift click, copy as path. Let's go back here, custom tool command. We'll do extract, import, info, and do your parentheses that are already set up. If you hit run, there you go. So there's no import files contained there. Whether they wanted it or not, the legacy import process does not actually zip copies of the import files. And we've changed this for MCC modules on new imports, but press F to pay respects to all original assets. So 343 has restored it for new imports. So if you had a community member who had a tag and you want to get the extract import info information, like if I released my battle rifle, you probably could export it. But as you can see, we cannot do that for the original Halo Reach assets. So, but here's what's interesting. We go here. So let's go to Spartans.render model. If I shift, or if I right click on that, we need to go into expert mode first. So let that all get caught up. If you load alternate stream, import information, you can see all that import information that they did. And look at that. You can see everybody who had imported a Granny 2 file for the game. You can see the names of the the names of the workstations. You can see the people who are working on the armors. So tons of import files for the Spartan. And you can see who did the initial. Apparently it was import on 2021. I believe that was because... I don't know. But anyways, yeah, you can see. So there's that. What is the best default vehicles to transform into a longsword? Not really a specialty of mine. I don't really mess with vehicle tags that much, but I'd say if you want to do the longsword, I would do the Banshee because it has a boost, right? Does the longsword have would the longsword have like an alternate boost? It wouldn't like rotate and like flip around like a maniac, but you could do that. I'd say if I wanted to use a longsword like Halo Custom Edition had, I think they used a Banshee. Afterburning. There you go. That's the word. That's the word. Keep them coming, guys. Keep the questions coming. Beach City Saint has asked, on the tooling front, what area do you think needs improvement? Can you get more specific about that one? It's just like tooling front, do you mean the tools themselves? Like bringing content to the actual engines? Or are we talking about actually like the level editor and setting up spawns and whatnot? Sapien. I do have actually something real quick I learned today to show you guys that someone ran into and I didn't realize myself, and I was like, whoa, yeah, that would be really helpful to know. But I'm going to answer Beach Saint's question first here. So we have the official tools right now, but is there anything the community could fill in? Okay, so with the tools, what we have, positive-wise, the community is building asset creation tools for Blender that are getting rapidly updated every day. We started out Halo Reach with basically nothing, and we are now a month in, and we now have a way to do BSP importing, model importing. We have a fix for animations, or for assets using existing animations. Let's see. We've got a better understanding of how Foundation works with Reach. But the community, what we could really see, I think, better from the community would most likely be, I think just, what I would like to see more of personally, in-game cutscenes. We haven't really seen anybody. I think Crisp did a couple stuff, and Halo Reborn has obviously dabbled into it for their showcase at the VKMT showcase. But I would love if we could somehow get sample packages or sample files for people who wanted to do certain things. So if you have a sample like cube gun tutorial and like the assets for that, you can give like the blend file and it has everything set up for you. and then maybe there's a README attached to it so that it explains, what each part does. Let's say if there's a cutscene sample where you have a camera, you have a README with a camera, maybe a character that's animated, or a tracking shot that's in, and it would show you what you would do to set up that cutscene for playback. But at the moment, I think really what I would like to see else with the tools, like improvements on the existing tools, I would like for somehow, now this is hard, and what I'm saying is no way, shape, or form is easy, but it would be wonderful if the tools could somehow utilize the GPU more than the CPU. The Halo tools were made back in the day where we just pretty much used the CPU for everything, and CPU is great. CPU is smart. It knows everything. It can run great calculations, but it is also running the operating system, and it's also operating programs. So once you start doing stuff, it can kind of take away some processing power, especially if you're doing light maps. Halo 4 introduced GPU light mapping with Tool, and I would love to see that kind of figured out for Halo Reach, Halo 3, Halo 2. I mean, everything would be great if it used the GPU. All the tools now run on DirectX 11. So, and that means all the Halo games now run on DirectX 11. We're not limited to DirectX 9 or 10. That means we can take advantage of new, I think, HLSL 4.0 shader technology. So, like, I think DirectX 11 had a lot of tessellation shader improvements and additions. Subsurface scattering, maybe? But anyways, custom shaders would be great to see. Love to see a proper physical-based rendering implementation in the Halo games, 3 and up. I know Halo 2 Anniversary Multiplayer has one. Maybe we can bring that backwards. There was something else. Oh, speaking of GPU, one thing I would really love, just from an artist perspective, I would love to pre-visualize lighting on a level and be able to bake the lighting in Blender and then have that be able to be imported into Halo without actually using Halo's light mapper. We have made incredible advancements in the past 15 years since Halo 3, past 12 years since Halo Reach. It would be great if we can use Blender cycles to render really high quality light maps and then have the engine read that instead. That would be huge. Not only would that save a load of time rendering those light maps, but also we can get more bounce lighting in. Maps can look 10, maybe 2 times, 5 times better they did in an engine almost a decade old, just from light mapping improvements. So that is something I would really love to see. But we made a lot of good strides as a community, and I think we're going to see a lot more in the next year. Again, we're coming up on the anniversary. Oh, I think it actually 2 days ago, the Halo 3 tools came out last year, so it's been a whole year since we've had it and had access to it, and we've seen an amazing amount of content already. But yeah, let me take a look at the questions. Abel Oyster has asked, what bones and markers do weapons need in Blender to be successfully imported and Reach? I got you. Okay, so what I had to do for my battle rifle port, let me load up Blender. I'll show you what I had to do. So if we go to Objects, Weapons, Rifle, Battle Rifle. Here we go. Okay. Now, Halo Reach is interesting because you can now just use, well, in Halo 3 you could as well. Bungie basically said no more first-person weapon models and no more third-person weapon models. There's only one weapon model. So one gun detailed as equally in first-person and third-person. But that does mean you need to set up a lot more markers now. So this is the original Halo 3 mesh with all its original markers, including the left-hand node. However, I did have to add some to make it look correct in Reach. So, we have for first person, and this only covers the Spartan. Everything you see here has to also be duplicated for an elite. So if you have a playable elite, you need to basically make the same thing that a Spartan has. So we have right here is left hand, This is left-hand Spartan. This marker right here. Now, this is for third person. This tells where the left hand should go in holding the gun. Now, you might be confused and being like, well, why doesn't it just use hashtag left hand? I believe that they wanted to define more ways characters could hold weapons, so they split up the characters for markers. So for Spartan, you need to have left underscore hand underscore Spartan. That also means, though, in third person, you need right hand Spartan. Now, this is an easy one to set up. It is always going to be the root of the gun, and that's always going to be around where the grip, where the right hand would grip the rifle. So if there's the battle rifle, I've got my left hand under the thing up front, but the rifle is holding on to the barrel right here. That's not the barrel, that's the grip. There you go, whatever. Where the trigger is. So the wrist, I think in Reach, it puts the node where the wrist is, and then the arm folds around it, or it goes near the palm, and then that's what goes around the grip. So you need right hand Spartan. But again, since this battle rifle, this is the origin of the battle rifle. I did not move its location. I just took that origin point and made that for the right hand. Now that we have one weapon model, we need to make sure we have the hashtag weapon stow anchor. That is for putting it on the backpack or the side of the thigh, if it's a pistol weapon. I believe that's a different, it could be a different marker tag though, if it's a pistol, but that's okay. Here is the other thing I had to do. Now, I believe this is for IK, because Bungie seems to have used much more IK for first person in Reach. I think this was due to sprinting, jumping, and looking around. They wanted to have the arm locked into place and not floaty like Halo 2. Like you see in Halo 2 sometimes, if you melee or you move around, the left hand kind of shakes a little. Doesn't look like it's actually attached. So this is a way for them to say, hey, let's tell the engine this needs to stay here at all times. Follow the gun. But again, that's also what the left hand did originally, but it seems this kind of hard locks it. You need left hand underscore Spartan underscore FP. That is all the markers I needed to get the gun in the right position and to look like it wasn't breaking his arm in 5 pieces. So that is how I'll do it. I'll leave it up a little longer just so you can see. And you'll notice also that these are a little off center. You will have that happen. It's not going to be, you can't just have hashtag left hand Spartan or hashtag left hand from the original gun and then duplicate it and then just make the Spartan version of it. You've got to move it off a bit. It will not be in the right location. So you will be opening and re-importing Sapien multiple times just to make sure the hand lines up. And that will separate a good mod from a bad mod. Don't know how to properly pronounce your name. Silix Gaming? Not sure. Well, gaming, whatever. Do you think 343 will release official tools for Halo 2 Anniversary? Yes. Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer should have a tool set release. Not single player. They've said that they can't give out Saber's tools. So, that's fair. Third party. But alright. Let me show you all something I had learned today, and I think this is extremely important. Okay, so in your toolkits, you have your root folder. Now, Halo, when baking light maps, it needs space on your hard drive to store information while it's doing so, and I think also after. It's called Fox. I think, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. F-A-U-X. And you'll see that pop up in the tool as it's compiling the light maps and generating the lighting. But someone today was actually in the Halo CE Reclaimers Discord. They were trying to bake light maps, but they kept getting an error. And the error was that they ran out of disk space. Well, they're looking at their hard drive and they have disk space. That's very strange. They kept deleting. but it almost was filling up the disk entirely. You know, there's definitely like 3 or 4 gigabytes left. So like, what is going on? What is taking up all this space? So in the tools, you should find a folder after you. This is after you generated a light map. This isn't in the tool by default. If you're making a custom map and you're baking lighting, you'll see it afterwards. If you go here, you're gonna look at all these files, and you're gonna go, well, hang on a second. What is all this? So if you look, we've got tons of files here. Look at this file, main.blob. This is for my map Octagon that I was working on. That's a 217 megabyte file. That's just chilling there. You've got all this information for baking light maps. And let me show you how big this folder is. If I right click it, and you go to properties, that's basically 3 gigabytes right there. You don't need that. Not Fox, it would be pronounced foul. Foul? Whatever. I don't care. No, I care. Yeah, so super big, super unnecessary. This is really just gets generated for when you're making the light maps, but after you're done, you don't need it anymore. So I just go boop, delete. And look at that, you've already freed up some disk space. So there you go. If you go over to Halo Reach, like I have right here, look at that. There it is right there. Wow. Look at all that. And it just spits it out in here. Now, I think what will happen is, since it's not like a cache, I think these are cache files probably, or I could be incorrect, but when you're rerunning light maps and everything, it probably is grabbing these files, and if it's similar enough, it might say, okay, we can skip it, but I don't think that's the case. But if you look right here, this is for my map Deadlock, or the Halo 3 High Ground, porting to Reach. You can already see it's a 40 megabyte file. So we'll just go in here, just go boop. So if you're running low on disk space and you're making a lot of Halo maps and content, I want to check that folder and see if you want to just delete it. So for some reason, why? What the hell? Why is that temp? That's weird. Anyways, there we go. Little tidbit I showed there just to learn today. Want to make sure that was in the stream. So let me get to some questions here. Will be 94, unless I'm looking in the wrong place. I'm surprised there isn't a lot of shitpost mods in MCC yet. Well, that's it's true. There isn't too much. You can play as Woody the Cowboy and Buzz Lightyear. I know that. You can also play as Naked Arbiter, provided by me. But there's also, I think there's mods out there like Thick Arbiter, and they made his like butt huge. You know, if that's their cup of tea, sure. But yeah, there hasn't been a lot of different character mods yet that have popped up. Yes, user's name, that is user. They did say they would work on workshop support after the Halo 4 and Halo 2 anniversary tools release, so. Yeah, as Markle says, you don't have to be as smart. You just have to be around people who know what they're doing, and then you absorb that knowledge, and then you can start talking about things that you think you know what you're talking about. So, but thank you for the kind comment. Okay, Markle has asked, do you know anything about porting animations between games, particularly porting stuff to Halo 3? I've been looking into it, and there doesn't seem to be a lot out there explaining it. So what are you trying to port? Now, I think the best way I can describe it, so Halo 1 to Halo Reach, Bungie, I know, well, actually, so from Halo 1 to Halo 3, no, that's actually not true either. Okay, so Halo 1, first person rig, it started from there. Same, it had its original bone count, you know, basic arm rig. Halo 2 renamed those bones, some of those bones, but it's still the same amount of bones and the same location. And it also introduced, I think, camera control, or that was Halo 3. Not entirely sure. But yeah, like I said, Halo 3, it kept Halo 2's information pretty much. So Halo 2 and Halo 3 are very similar. Halo Reach added more bones to that rig, but if you still remove those extra bones, you have fundamentally the same rig from Halo 1. So from Halo 1 to Halo Reach, you can pretty much transfer those animations between the games. There is... it's complicated, of course. You would basically go into extracting the animation file. I recommend Tag Tool. That is currently the most accurate way to extract animations, first person and third person, from Halo 1 to Halo 4. And let's say if you're trying to put the battle rifle into Halo 1, you would just need to rename those bones in that animation file, and it should work. You probably could write a Python script. Excuse me. You could probably write a Python script to find existing names of the bones and then rename them. I know Shelly, one of the owners, or the owner of Reclaimers, had made a tool. I don't know if it was posted. I think it was posted in the server. But there was also someone who worked on a Halo Reach deboner, which allowed you to run a script that would remove the Reach extra bones from Halo Reach, and you could put those animations into Halo 3, Halo 2. And so there is that level of compatibility with the Halo 1, or for the Halo first person stuff. Halo 4 changed it because, 343 got a 343. They not only changed the position of the first person arms, so you can't easily bring models over and just re-rig them quite quickly. They added a load of helper bones, a load of armor helper bones, and they definitely are using different bones for different things than Reach and below. So if you're trying to port Halo 4 first person animations into the older games, if you're trying to port them into the older games, it's not going to be as simple, unfortunately. Going back though, let's see. So Halo 1 through 3, you only, okay, so from Halo, so now if you're talking about characters, if we talk about Master Chief, Halo 1, very simple. Halo 2 added a couple finger bones. It wasn't every single joint though. Halo 3 renamed those finger bones and added all the joints a hand has in third person. So, however, they're all still, named the same. Well, that's not true, but it's still, same naming hierarchy. Halo 1, I know, did use the word frame in front of the bones, so frame base, frame, R, upper arm. There's definitely naming differences, but what's great is, if you have the Halo 1 rig and you wanted to port it to Halo 3, you just got to add the hand bones and the finger bones, basically all the extra bones. You can import it and you can immediately use the Halo 3 animations on the Halo 1 Spartan. So it's just how everything was set up from Bungie. It transferred over easy. Halo Reach changed a lot, and that's what a lot of people are struggling with right now because now we have a different rig. Positions changed. What was great about Halo 2 and Halo 3 is when you had the model, they were in A pose, and they pretty much lined up between the two games. So Halo 2 Master Chief and Halo 3 Master Chief, they're pretty much in the same position. So you could bring the rig over from one game to another. You can just weight transfer. Pretty simple. Elites are the same way, I believe, for Halo 1, 2, and 3. The same thing applies. Just like Master Chief, they added finger bones, they renamed bones, but you could still pretty much use them. That's how I was able to port the Halo 2 Elite pretty easily. And then they changed it for Reach. Halo 4. Okay, well actually, so this is an interesting note about Halo 4 and up. It seems 343 does have a standardized rig though for third person. And for Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer, Halo 5, and it's said that Halo Infinite all pretty much use the same rig and position. So that's how I was easily able to do the Halo 5 armors. I have a good friend, he's been in chat before. He did the Woody and Buzz Lightyear ports. He set up the Halo 2 Anniversary rig to work in Halo 3 on the Halo 3 animations. But since all that was the same for Halo 4, Halo 2 Anniversary, and Halo 5, I could easily transfer everything without altering the meshes. So that was great. But yeah, the more you get into it, and the higher you go into the games, into the newer games, it gets pretty complicated. So, yeah. If you're porting from CE, you just probably need a bone renamer. It should be okay. You will need to do some things differently with the overlays, though. I know that system changed. First person. There's a great guy. He's a good friend of mine, has been for years. His name is AI. He's in Halo C Reclaimers. Basically a wizard about anything Halo first person. If you've seen him before, you know who I'm talking about, but if you haven't, any questions, he's the guy. Totally smart. Let's see. Hey, okay, how you doing? Hey, Sheer, how you doing? I wonder how uploading maps to the workshop in the future will work. It's a good question. They definitely need to utilize shared.map because map files are going to be huge. If they don't, I'm sure that's what they plan on working on, though, because that's how the Halo games worked originally. But hopefully it just works like Gary's mod. That would be nice. Probably different. In Counter-Strike, that'd be cool. But ideally, it would be nice if I could just join a friend's server, and if I don't have their map, it could prompt me and just say, do you want to download the map? And put it in a folder. Because really, you need to have MCC's menu auto-update your folder of maps and populate the map list in the engine. In the menu, sorry. Oh, you're having a go at porting Marcus as chief. Good luck. It's just a bitch. I don't know. Right now, it's real difficult, painful process. So, but thankfully with Crisp's tool, it makes things a lot easier. So, once you get the hang of it. Keep the questions coming, guys. And ladies. I'm sure one day that there will be somebody who will provide a transfer rig for Halo 3 to Reach. That would be great. Because I would love Master Chief and Reach. You probably, I don't know. You know what? We could try porting the, well, hold on. I need to see if I have that file still. I don't think I do. But I had the Halo 1 Chief set up on Reach, I thought. I'm not positive, though. No. Because you have to add, basically, you have to add the extra bones, and then you have to... Oh, shoot, did I delete that file? I don't know. Might have rage deleted it. Not rage deleted, but FP body. Oh, FP body. Okay, I was wondering what the hell that was about. It could be in Halo 3. I could have saved it there. Characters, Master Chief, Master Chief. I do not think it's here whatsoever. No, I didn't save it. Well, I don't know if I want to do that. It's probably a pain in the ass. Oh, I mean, there's not too many vertex groups. We'll look at it later. Plum asks, what goes into making a map for Halo 3? Trying to figure it out. If you want to break that down a little more, then I can definitely give some more defined answers. But Halo is different from normal map making in Unity and Unreal. So what Halo does is you have a 3D modeling program. You make the whole map in that modeling program. Everything that has geometry is in that file. What you then do is you take that, you export it, and the game engine compiles basically, if you don't know, BSP. And I forgot the actual wording for what BSP stands for. But it generates a level with collision, already generated for you. And you basically have a playable area to walk around in, as long as you set a spawn point and you can move around. Now, light properties are defined in this 3D model program. You are setting up the face mode. So is it two-sided? Is it one-sided? Is it two-sided transparent? Is it just a collision mesh? Is it only render only, so you can have things pass through it? That's all defined in the modeling program. You're just telling the Halo compiler tool what needs to happen, and then that processes it, spits you out a Halo file, which you also get a level file. So you get two files when you compile a level. You get the scenario, which is basically your map, your .map file, and well, not .map, not your compile .map, but you know what you load in the level editor. And then you're also given a structure, a scenery structure BSP. That's the level itself. So I can show you though. Thank you for asking, because I have an example. So I use Blender. I recommend using Blender for Halo right now, just because there's so much content being made for it, and it's pretty easy to pick up because everyone is using Blender. But if you're used to 3ds Max, that's what Bungie used back in the day. Some stuff may work better with that. Just depends on what you're feeling. But I think at the end of the day, if you wanted to model in 3ds Max and bring it into Blender, that's also a good idea, but maybe not. Who knows? Okay, so I was making a map for Halo 3. I don't think I've actually shown this on stream, but it was called Octagon, and as that implies, it was based on the warm-up map that started in Halo 3. And what I did was I created this. So you're looking at it and you're like, whoa, that's obviously an octagon. But let's look at it a little more. Let's go into depth a little here. We'll go into detail. So I'm going to turn on, first thing I'm going to turn on is right here is called face orientation. And this is what direction the surface of the mesh is facing. What is a good example? I have, I think, okay, so here's a copy of Destiny for Xbox, the original Destiny. Let's say this model was only facing like this. I never showed you the back, I never showed you the sides. If you want to talk about optimization, you really just want to use the front. The player is never going to see what's behind. It's never going to see what's on the side. So you tell the engine and you tell your modeling program, well, in your modeling program, you define and say, hey, this should be blue. This on the back should be red. That means don't render this, only render this. You still have all that geometry information and for collision, but that's only what's getting rendered. That's only what's getting draw calls. However, if the model is rotating, you can see all of it. This whole outside of it would be blue. Now, think about it. I haven't shown you what the inside of this looks like. So what color would that be? That would be red. But of course, if I opened it up, showed you the inside, that would also be blue. So, I don't know. Hopefully that was a good example. If you look at the mesh, oh, I didn't full screen for that. Darn, I should have full screen for that little segment there. So you can see this is red on the outside. No one's ever going to see this because the playable space is on the inside of the map. There's windows here. You see there's no red. But obviously, if you go out, there is. My nose is itching like crazy tonight. What I want to show. So, face orientation is very important. There's these lights right here. I didn't really care. I could definitely set those to red. But let's go to uncheck face orientation. So now we have the inside here. But why are these windows so big? Why is that? So let's go to material mode. And what I've done in this program is I've imported the textures and set the tiling to what they're supposed to be in game, so I can see my UV mapping and how I want it to appear. You have these windows right here. If we go to the glass, you can see it. But if you look on the inside of it, if I go here, you're going to see all this enclosed space, and it's blue. So what is it? In my materials right here, Halo uses materials to define a lot of things, and one of them is called a property called plus sky. This tells the engine, render the light skybox right here. Halo doesn't, in a level, have a skybox sitting where this is when you import the geometry. That wouldn't be smart. It wouldn't be optimized. So what it does is it lets you define the areas that you would see a sky in, and you apply it to, let's go into edit mode right here. You take the faces and you assign it that material. So I could just, randomly go here, and I can just say, oh, I'm going to make that waist blue. No, you don't want to do this. You want to go here, boom, boom, sky. Now, why do this, and why do we need to do this? You're thinking, maybe I can just make a big cube around my geometry and define that as the sky. No. Halo does not like what's called open edges. It doesn't like geometry that isn't sealed 100%. Halo 1 used to be really strict with that. I mean, they did not, I don't think, allow it. Old Halo 1 modders could tell me. But for Halo 2 and 3, they got pretty lax on it. You can do it, but when you're playing the level, you'll see some physics issues. It's best practice to always have your level sealed, 100% sealed. What is a good example I can use for this demonstration on my immediate surroundings? I do not know. That's okay. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, again, I just have everything here. There's nothing that is leaking out of this model. It's all sealed. Everything's connected. There's all these vertices. They're all attached to each other. There's no edges that are floating in the middle here. Everything has a purpose. Everything's defined. Everything's connected. So if you go over here, there's a vertice right here. It's connected to this, that vertice here, that vertice there, and that vertice there. Nothing else. Nothing's floating. There's no random vertices. All sealed. Okay. So we have our level. We've set our materials. Here's another big part of making levels on Halo. You have your shader is defined in the tag editor, which is what stores a lot of the file information for Halo to read. This tells, what textures for the shader to use. What are the properties of this shader? Is it reflective? Is it flat? Is it matte? Everything. You name your material the name of the shader, and Halo 3, Halo 2, and Halo 1, I believe, Halo 1, if you export this and import into the engine, it will look up in that local directory that you are importing your map to, and if you have shaders there with these names, it'll assign them. There's more detail into shader collections to where you can broadly look for a shader with a name if it's defined a certain way, so you don't have to have it in that folder. But yeah. So, there you go. You export with the toolkit right here. For Halo 3, it's an AS file. You would change the game version here to Halo 3. I leave all this right here. I try not to use edge split. I try to use normal weights, loop normals. I go to structure. You have to have a structure folder. So you have Octagon, right? And then you go into structure, and there's your .as file. I know, haha, it's called as, but that's what Bungie made. So you export, and then you go over here to Asoyos, which is a nifty GUI, GUI, whatever you kids like to call it. And you go to import and light level. You can either import the level, you can only light the level, or you can do both. So you go to browse, you go to your levels hierarchy, your multiplayer map. Let's see. You go to Octagon, structure, you click that, files load it, you import. And then if you wanted to go into Sapien, if you want to go into level editor to see what this looks like, you go to that generated file that has now been made. Oops. Octagon.scenario. Double click that. Should load up. That was a really long discussion there, so hopefully I said things that made sense. Let's see. I wonder if anything like Chimera or Open Source for Custom Edition will come to Reach or 4. It's always a possibility. I'm really hoping for something like Lua scripting, or maybe some more advanced scripting that we can use. But yeah, that'd be great. I think we'll probably see something along the lines of that in the future. Ines asks, is modding rewarding? Yeah, it's 100% rewarding. I have a different history with Halo. You know, I worked on a fan game for a good decade, and I could have been a little bit more proactive on it in terms of learning, you know, 3D modeling, programming, art, and coding in general. So I never really felt like I was learning 100%. When I switched over to modding Halo 3 when the tools came out, all I did, I sat in calls with people. Learning the tools at midnight when they were released. Or not midnight, but the day of. But anyways, reading chats, asking questions, looking for answers. And I just start trying to make whatever I wanted. And throughout the last year, I feel like I have learned more than I did making a fan game. This does not only just apply for modding, it applies for game development in general. There's a lot of solid rules and understanding that Halo uses that is really practical for modern game development. So yeah, I think it's pretty rewarding. And releasing a mod, well, again, it goes back to making a fan game after not being able to release it. Putting out a mod feels amazing. So it feels like I've actually done something with my life. So I don't know. At least on the online lifestyle. Oyster, can you use already existing animation graphs on a custom weapon? Yes, you can. And Marco looks like he already answered that question. Good, good, good. Oh, I don't know what map that is in Half-Life, but yeah, I bet it didn't go well. Okay, so Plum, you were trying to remake a Halo 1 map in Halo 3 in Blender. Yeah. What would be probably a good idea to do is import the Halo 1 map that you're trying to make, compile it for Halo 3, so you can at least load it, look at how jumps are done, how the gameplay feels on the map, what you need to change to the level, and then you probably could just take the existing geometry of the level and just start editing it from there, adding more detail here and there, beveling corners, making it more in line with Halo 3 Forerunner. Maybe export a map from the tools, a Halo 3 map, load up the map in Blender, the Halo 3 map, and look at how Bungie did it. It's the greatest way to learn. Copy what they did. And I'll show you actually what that looks like. So if you watch earlier in the stream, you go back, I showed you how to extract a level or any asset. But if you want to go in here, go to import. For Halo 1, it's going to be different. Oh, wait, no, I'm showing you how to do Halo 3. That's right. I'm importing a Halo 3 extracted map with the tools. So I would go to data levels, and I believe multi. I went to construct. I love that map. And here's the AS file, 17 megabytes. Shouldn't be too long. And let me just make sure I reset the view distance. But if you look, here is the whole map for Construct from Halo 3. Let's go look at this little piece of geometry right here. It's got some detail. You can look at the geometry, how they did it. Look at the faces. You can go over here to the shaders. You can see it was panel underscore glass 2. Bungie also looks like they used seam sealer, which tells the engine, hey, let's close this geometry up and let's seal it tight. Don't let it leak out. It doesn't have any Halo properties assigned to it, but there you go. 2 properties. Ah, look right here. They put seam sealer right here. So see how this geometry is essentially floating into nothing? They did that right here to, in my understanding, basically merge it with this this mesh right here. So it's one solid mesh. But yeah, I would do this. I would load up a map, look at what they did, look at the light properties. Hell, this is where someone in Halo Mods, Nexzilla, told me I was having trouble looking at how to light my Octagon map. He's like, load up Construct. There's tons of lights there. You could probably pull an asset from there and use it as inspiration. I took the light right here, and if you look here, I made it work for my level here. I had to change it up a little, but it fits perfectly. Oh, and here's Octagon, by the way. Oh, oops, I need to actually spawn in the level. There we go. Oh, look, I'm still Fred from the other stream we did. That's funny. It's probably best to use the Warthog. You can see there's a lot of artifacts with the lighting. That's because I didn't do a super high quality bake. Would definitely need to figure out how to eliminate that. But this is pretty much what I want the level to look like. Maybe it could be a little brighter. But yeah, pretty neat. And this, I made this myself. This is, I had help with some from Grim, just to understand more about Halo 3 mapping. But it's obviously not a complex map, but it really helped me understand the workflow for Halo. And you don't have to be big to start out. You can make a box map. Start small. Just start small so you understand the concepts of the engine, and then you can take those concepts and get bigger with it. Custom game type scripting in Halo 3 would be fantastic. Laughs and overused popsicle sticks and duct tape code phrase. Yeah, that's not really true anymore with the Halo 2 we have now versus what was back then for Vista. But personally, the Halo 3 tools are the best at the moment. Well, actually, no. I've heard a lot of great things about Halo 2. Halo 2, fun fact, Halo 2 also has the same limits as Halo 3. So you can take an asset from Halo 3 and put in Halo 2, no problem. Might need some slight work, but it should work fine. Another question, how's your day been? It's been good. It was an easy day. I went for a walk in the park, did some chores. And that was pretty much it. Now I'm here. What's up, Cake? How you doing, man? There you go, Plum. One room from Chiron. Perfect. Start small. Great way to start. Bang asks, what is a good tutorial video for a simple start map in Blender to mod tools? There is not a video, but there's a write-up on the C20 website, C20 Reclaimers. That's basically the documentation we have for the Halo tools. That shows how to take a box and prep it for export to the Halo tools, and it walks you through the process of importing it. But you can watch my streams. I just haven't really gone over, I haven't done a mapping stream yet. Octagon, I didn't really do anything with. I can always show you all how to do a box map import. Yeah. And thank you. Good day, Chief. How you doing? Oyster, do you know why Bungie started to move away from legacy file formats like JMS and JMA and switched to Granny 2? Well, first of all, hi Puzzle, how you doing? And hey Glitch. Oh wait, no, Glitch just say hi. Sorry, oops. Anyways, why did Bungie switch? So it is rumored and basically kind of decided that Bungie did not want to maintain their own files anymore. They basically just wanted something standardized that the industry used at the time, and Granny 2 was out there. It handled everything for them. They just integrated into their engine, and that was it. They had the documentation. They made tools for importing and exporting, and that was it. They didn't have to maintain it. If something broke, they would just contact the third party and they'd tell them. They didn't have to waste internal resources. And this is all obviously speculation, but it makes the most sense. It could also just be from a technical perspective. It was just easier. I don't know. There is JMS support still in Reach. It was not maintained, so that's why Halo 3 stuff works pretty much. Like if you exported something with Halo 3 settings, it would import to Reach as a JMS. Fine. That is what I theorize. Ooh, you have to ask me that question. That's not in relation to Halo mod tools. Come on, Glitch. What is my favorite Halo fan game? If it's unreleased, released? I don't really have one, unfortunately. Don't keep up with it much anymore, and yeah. My favorite mod? Right now, Halo Reborn is probably the one I'm most anticipated for, just because of what the potential of that mod brings, but also like what is going to be learned from making that mod that could be shared with the community. So they could talk about how they use certain tricks to have more complex geometry and complex detail without sacrificing quality and optimization. That would be great to know. Okay, so imagine, Westlow says, imagine Bungie would give us the mod tools in 2007, 8, 09. How many super awesome maps would we have today? Well, I think the best example would be Custom Edition. If we got what we received today, which, by the way, Bungie never would have done, I think we definitely would have seen on par with what Custom Edition eventually had. Obviously, the games weren't on PC, so putting them on Xbox, I guess, would be the way. But then did you have to join people? You had to have the map? I don't think that would have been possible. Let's say magically Halo 3 was on PC back in 08, and you could play custom maps like you could in Vista and Halo 1. Yeah, there would be tons. As long as the tools are what we have now, and the capabilities we have in those tools, they're not, gut it like Halo 2 Vista was. They weren't stripped of a lot of features like Halo 2 Vista. If it was like today, I'd say it'd been like Custom Edition. We probably had a lot of projects at this point, making cool mods, probably a lot of custom campaigns. That's what I'm excited for. I really want to see more custom Halo 3 style campaigns. Take the existing stock tag set. I basically just want to see a Lemuria in Halo 3. Yeah. What is the worst level in Halo Reach? In my opinion, I think the whole game is the worst. Hey, Smeh. Have you done any AI scripting in Halo 3? I have not. There was one time I did it, and it was for the video with the Halo 1 pistol. I had a lot of help from my friend A Dumbass. That's his name on Discord. I'm not calling him a dumbass. He showed me how to script, kind of, and like what to use. But beyond that, nah, nothing with AI or anything. Not really a scripter. I probably should eventually get into it. A stretch goal of mine, a kind of nice vision I have is I make a vertical slice of a level, like basically one mission in Halo 3, using all the existing enemies, sandbox, don't change anything on that end, stock tags essentially. Try to use the same textures as Bungie did for the other levels and make a map with those materials, but a brand new map essentially, and a brand new level. It would be great to get a little custom cutscene in the beginning, maybe a vignette in the middle, and in the ending. Something that maybe fits into Halo 3 or just in the Halo 3 timeline. I don't know. Maybe something that doesn't even revolve around canon, because, you know, fuck canon sometimes. But whatever. But yeah, that'd be cool. Let's see. I hope I'm saying this right, Ines, but what mods am I the most proud of? What mod seems that people like the most? I think I basically hit my stride with the Halo 4 Master Chief. The hype for that, and not only internally for me, but for the others who were helping me, was pretty great, because we were able to see that a Halo 4 asset made for a 2012 game looked amazing in 2007, and maybe even better in a 2007 engine. And I had a lot of fun making the trailer for that release, and it really... I think that was my first tag release. Yeah, that is my first tag that I ever came out with, was Halo 4 mod. Wait, no, that's not true. I came out with the SPV... SPV3, the Silent Cartographer Evolved, Sniper, and Assault Rifle, PBR. That was great. But I definitely am the most happy and had a lot of fun memories working on the Halo 4 Master Chief. But I think probably the other big highlight so far with modding, it wasn't a mod I released. It was the write-up I did for PBR. I spent so many months trying to figure out how to standardize the PBR shader for Halo 3 for everyone to use. So if you already had an existing asset, it would be I wanted to have a guide that was just straight up, this will look 99% of the time the same. And I was really proud with that, and I'm glad I was actually able to write something, and it's now on the official documentation for, you know, the Halo tools. Well, the community documentation, but it's basically the official documentation. So yeah, those two I think I'm the most proud of. Any progress on fixing Among Us Master Chief? No, I haven't done anything with him yet. Hoping there's some either brave soul out there who has an answer for me, or I might just have to re-weight paint the arms. But that means I have to reposition the fingers and everything, and that takes a long time. So, yeah. I've been working on a custom campaign. I finally learned how AI objectives works, but I'm having issues with command scripts. It's driving me mad. Well, don't forget just to ask the community for help. There's a lot of people who have experience with it. More so than me. What do you think about Edge, Icebox, and Waterfall? Why 343 doesn't implement Reactor? I'm assuming these are from Eldorado or Halo Online. Edge. That's the one with the waterfall on the side. It's nice looking. I don't know. I played them when Eldorado was out, and I played them when the original version of Halo Online leaked way back in 2015. They were cool. I mean, they're different. I really liked the Turf remake. That one was nice. But you know what's funny? I haven't played a multiplayer map on Waterfall. So I can't give an opinion on that. However, I would really love if they did bring Reactor to MCC. That would be awesome, because I think that's probably one of my favorite maps from Eldorado. Or Halo Online. Ugh, so confusing sometimes. Okay, I will answer the PBR question, but I need to get some water because I am parched. So I'll be right back. All right. Okay. Ow. Shit. Freaking busted my leg over here. Let's see what we got. So, what does PBR means? What does PBR mean? PBR was basically invented to standardized real-world lighting values into rendering engines. So from film to games, there was papers written on how to standardize lighting and mimic it from real-world stuff. So metals look like metal, plastics look like plastics, and they started implementing them into game engines. Halo 3 did not have that. However, Halo 3, again, Bungie just really pulling out all the stops back in 2007. What my friends and I like to call it was pseudo PBR. Essentially, they were really close at making a standardized version of what we see today. It's very advanced. It was used sparingly in Halo 3 just because of the 360. You'll see the other solution from Halo 2 used a lot more to save resources. But for the main characters and any kind of really heavily involved cutscene character, they use those assets. Hero pieces, essentially. But anyways, fast forward to MCC. We get the implementation of, again, it wasn't true PBR. It worked with the existing shader system of Halo 3. But you basically could take PBR textures and get them ready to be imported into Halo 3, and it would be standardized. It would basically look the same in each environment. Like, it shouldn't look too different in a differently lit environment. Like if you were outside or inside, it should pretty much look the same and react the same. But for textures, usually in Unity or Unreal, you have about 5 or 4 textures. You have the albedo, which is just flat color information, no depth. You'd have a normal map, which provides the fake depth of a model. You would then have an ambient occlusion map, which is the baked-in shadows of a asset. You'd then have a roughness map, which essentially tells the engine how rough it is. You know, is it shiny? Or, yeah, is it a flat or reflective material? And then the metallic map, which would tell if it was more of a plastic or a metal texture. You could either have also a height map, which was basically parallax, so even more faked depth. But combine all those together, you'd have something that would be physically based. So physically based in the real world, physically based rendering, PBR. What I wrote was a guide that would take modern assets that were rendered and exported for that pipeline and bring them to Halo 3. Made it simple. And yeah, so like my Halo 5 thread stream, that was PBR. Halo 5 used a form of PBR. Wasn't exactly what modern engines use, but it's still same. Well, along the lines. Let's see. So, do you think 53 has any more big surprises for us when it comes to MCC, or do you think they're going to slowly stop content? Depends on MCC, I think. If MCC continues to be the game that most Halo players are playing, I think they will probably still continue to put money into the engine, or into the game, and maybe give us some more content? I don't know. I definitely want to see workshop support 100% and a custom map browser. That would be monumental for the game. Thank you, Ines, sorry. Mythical rewards. Hey man, this is a two-parter. One, I'm looking into making custom particle systems in Halo Reach. How would you start getting into those? I have not dabbled into it too much, unfortunately. I actually, even particles in general, I haven't messed with too much. But for your second question, I'm also looking at importing weapons from other Halo games. Where do I start with this? Like, any good resources? The beginning of the stream would probably be a good one. Also, other streams I have, I don't know if I imported a weapon on stream. Oh, I did the carbine. And I did some of the battle rifle on stream. I'd go back and watch, I believe it was the thumbnail with High Ground in it. We did the carbine. That'll show you how to port older weapons and how to get them set up. Let's see. There's also a couple great YouTube videos out there already. I don't know for Reach specifically though. Oh, I also did the Halo 5 assault rifle for Halo 3. That's also a great video to learn how to take an existing asset and get it working. So that was on the... trying to think. Let me look at my videos. Hold on. I will tell you which one it was. I think it was the Halo 3 15th anniversary celebration. We did that one. Yep. Which is ironic because, you know. Yep, that was that one. 2 weeks ago. Let's see. PBR is also the shader as well. The written code of the shader it's basically a PBR shader, and you're feeding it textures that correspond for that shader to match what you're trying to render. Are there AI mods for Forge now that the tools are out? I'm sure, Andy. I have not messed with them. Server rentals. I forget that all the time, but that would be amazing. Can you imagine if you just went and like hosted a Halo server? Like, just like Halo Custom Edition? Would be awesome. Do you think we could see Halo on? Anthony asks, do you think we see Halo Online assets and mechanics added to Halo 3 one day? Mechanics, I'm not sure. I don't think so, because that would be really altering Halo 3's base code, and you'd really have a lot of people arguing if it's the same game anymore, because it already has a lot of new armors, a lot of new skins, a lot of new assets that weren't in the original game. You know, it's the ship of Thesis, or whatever it's called. Is it the same ship? But right now, I think it is pretty much still the same game. You could turn a lot of that new stuff off. But we could see new assets. Or assets from Halo Online. I don't know. Yeah, Wustlemat. To fix that huge map file problem, they would have to get the shared map file working, which basically is a cache for all existing assets that would be used in your map. So if I'm making a stock Halo 3 map, that shared map holds all the stock tags. Basically, I would only be sharing in my map file the custom geometry that I made. That would be it. And then the map file could be like 300 megabytes. I don't know. That's what Halo 1 does. And Halo 2. And Halo 3. And Reach. And every other game. I do plan to port over the Thunder Gun from Black Ops 1. Yeah. I did see the ray gun for Halo 3. That was cool. Good luck on that. Also, my bad, is someone who already asked us already in comments the current state of I mean, I don't know if I want to talk about Installation 1 right now on stream, because I never know what could happen. But I don't know. They're still working on the game. I don't think they'll can it. Will it release in the near future? Probably not, because those guys are very busy. They all work, a lot of them work at the same company, so they're, a lot of them are AAA devs at this point. But I wish them the best of luck. Let's keep the modding questions coming. Yeah, Halo fan. They got a lot of good stuff. It would just be great to see some gameplay. Oh, damn it. I mean, I know it's ironic for me to say, let's do some gameplay after hearing that same phrase when I was leading the team after 8-7 years, but it has been a long time since we've seen anything publicly, so it'd be nice. Would you ever consider Mythic Rewards asks, would you ever consider doing modded maps ratings? Like me reviewing custom maps? Well, I don't know. The problem is I spend so much time making mods and like doing creation in the engines that I don't actually have time to play. I don't really play Halo like casually anymore. I make content for it and that's it. I stopped playing Infinite in March. Oh, like if someone sent you their modded map, would you rate it and give some feedback on stream? I don't want to put someone on public blast like that, you know. If I want to actually provide constructive criticism, it can be interpreted differently by many people, and I don't want to seem like I'm trying to paint a picture. I want to be able to talk to the developer and say, you know, this is my thoughts, this is my feelings. I don't want to put pressure on them. Any ideas for a custom campaign level floating in your head? If you're going to make one, what are some things you'd like to do? So, funny enough, I mean, kind of circling back to IO1, way back in 2013, I had seen Project Contingency. I thought it was cool. I was going to apply, but obviously I realized, thankfully, that I had no skills to what they needed. I'm just too much of an idea guy at the time. But when I was thinking about, I was in summer school because I failed math or something. There was a test I didn't pass during the school year and I had to take it during the summer. So there was a lot of daydreaming, to say the least. And I would spend a lot of time thinking about what I could do to make some new Halo thing like Contingency was doing. And, you know, they were using CryEngine 3 at the time, so I was at home. You know, I downloaded the SDK and I was trying to make stuff with it. Did not make stuff with it. My computer barely could run it. But I had this idea in my head. I still remember it to this day. I wanted to do a beach starting encounter where maybe like pelicans drop you off in the water and you storm the beach. And I think it was pretty much similar to the first Super Mario 64 level, where you get to the top of the mountain and then you defeat something. It was basically you storm the beach, you gain control of the beach, and then you would go up the mountain and you would capture or defeat the boss or whatever that was up on the top. So oddly enough, I still think about it just as like that's one of the original ideas that, you know, started from, you know, or that led to the creation of Installation 1. It was one of the many building blocks. So I don't know, it'd be kind of fun to do that in Halo 3, I think. You know, maybe have some pelicans like get shot down in the water and, you know, you're with a bunch of Marines and you're storming the beach and maybe there's some Covenant ships flying by, some, you know, cinematic stuff. I don't know. I think it'd be fun. Obviously, that sounds like the Covenant level, but I was thinking more directly from the water to the beach. And then linear or not so linearly, you could find your way up to the top. Obviously, super basic. Like, anybody would probably think of that, but, you know, just something I thought of. Oyster, do you know what the vertex limit is for models in Halo Reach? It is around the same as Halo 3's. Could be more. Hey there, Varvadra? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but hi from America. Good to see someone from Trinidad watching. Thank you for watching my content. Appreciate it. Hey Blaze, how you doing? First time saying hi and able to watch a stream live. Well, thank you. Great to have you. Do I have any plans of making a custom campaign map or multiplayer map? Well, was working on Octagon, and then Halo Reach came out, and then I procrastinated. I think right now, though, Octagon for me, I'm not interested in doing what I struggled with Octagon was I thought I needed a roof with some sunlight coming in, but I think I might hand the map off to somebody for a lighting pass, just so it can be more brightly lit internally. And then somebody who could also do spawn points and stuff. I want to put some decals like grime and everything on the floor. But it's a super simple map. But I'd like to finish it and release it and say I've actually completed a map. That would be cool to say. Water is a beautiful set piece. Does Reach like to accept motion capture data? I'm going to make it some... Oh, I remember you talking about this on the last stream, I think. Okay. So let me say, motion capture data isn't... You don't take the actual motion capture that you get and record and put it directly in the game engine. When we worked on Installation 01, for the... we had Matthew Lake. Shout out to my boy. He had access to his university's mocap studio, and he did some work for the cinematic. He would take that mocap data. It was very, very rough. He had to go in and clean it up. He had to animate it more. He had to overlay, custom animations on top of it. You get the basic movement and everything, but you need to put personality into it. You need to actually have some cleanup work be done. Once you do that, and it's working on the Halo rig that you are using, you can export it as an animation, I'm sure. But if you do get anywhere with actually making new cutscenes, that would be great, because I want to see more custom cutscenes in engine from the community. Ambition is a mood killer, for sure. Pickle. Hi, Pickle. How do I get good at texturing maps and UVs stuff without fucking everything up? So, I don't know. I am not a texture artist. That's for damn sure. I could not give you any examples on that. UVing, it's kind of like a puzzle. You're trying to fit an image on a mesh. You're basically taking a blanket, you're wrapping it around something, and you're positioning it so it looks right. Blender, I tried to do my best with Octagon. It probably has some UV issues here and there. I just tried to make a map that was very symmetrical, and it had textures that were also symmetrical, so there wasn't a lot of custom modularity to it, or bespoke work, sorry. But I watched some tutorials on, basic Blender unwrapping. That'll get you a good start if you're doing Forerunner content, which in Forerunner content does make it easy. Let's see here. Is that Mike? Hey, brother. How you doing? I'm doing good. Custom equipment. I don't know if I can do that. I don't mess with the equipment tag enough, unfortunately. Well, it's actually a weapon tag, I think. I'm not sure. Not really my forte. Eventually, one day, you can learn it. Are there any niche tips about the tools that you could tell us that might be helpful? Niche tips. Just trying to think from what I would know. Tips and tricks. Tips and tricks. I think the best niche tips I could provide is just try to look at what Bungie was doing. If you're trying to work with 3D models and textures, like I showed earlier, you can extract the level geometry. I would look into using more of that and just studying what they did, because that's what you're trying to replicate in that engine most of the time. in that tool. But other niche stuff, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. I'd spend time in servers, Halo modding servers, asking questions. I always read what people are working on. Reclaimers, CE Reclaimers is definitely way more geared to questions and answering, and very helpful people there. Tons of helpful people. But I can't really think of anything niche. I'll try to see if I can think of anything more. I would say one thing niche, I kind of explained it into my second modding tutorial video. I would always use a file structure in your tags. I would use your name. But like how I have, I don't know if I showed you, but basically I have in my tags folder, I have bean, and then I break it down like the root tag folder, like objects or levels or sounds or effects. And then, you know, you go from there. That way, so when you're transferring tags and you're sharing tags with people, you can just drag and drop. Don't make it harder. Oh, that leads to something else. Don't modify game tags, stock game tags. You can modify them, but don't, what am I trying to say? Make duplicates. Don't overwrite existing game stuff, because when the tools get updated, you have to change those tags. So don't use the existing tags as like your mods. I'm not explaining it right. I'm basically saying, if you have the Warthog, don't fuck with the Warthog too much to the point where you can't use the original Warthog anymore. I would just duplicate the biped. I would just duplicate the vehicle tag. Duplicate the model. Put it somewhere separate. Use that as a base. You can, sure. If I was making a custom assault rifle, maybe I'll just throw that on the original assault rifle, but I make sure at the end of every session I try not to leave it there. You know what I mean? Oh, let's see. Always seal your level geometry. Don't leave it open. It'll cause physics issues. Maybe finish that port. High ground port? We need some more work done on the Halo Reach tools for that. Also, I wish the Skybox would work better, because that would definitely motivate me more. What is your approach to avoiding lasting psychological damage when attempting to port map geometry from a different game engine? It depends on the game. If I'm back porting, if I'm forward porting a level, it's way easier. Back porting geometry, I don't think I've done, so can't provide too much context on that. To avoid psychological damage, ask questions before you do it. Make sure it's possible. Ew, Zealot is a terrible map, and I will stand by that. I'm sorry. I'm not a big Halo Reach fan. Shadow Fox, no, you didn't join too late, but I might be wrapping up eventually here. Don't know when. Keep the questions coming. Thank you, Nick. Is it possible to bring back the floatiness from Halo 3 into Reach? I think so. Depends. You just to compare the biped tags between the games. I'm sure there's some movement values and gravity values. They didn't change too much from Halo 3 to Reach. Fun fact. Obviously, they changed a bunch of different things, but a lot of the tags and everything, they've kind of remained the same. So, do with that what you will. Are Halo Infinite models able to be imported into Halo 3? Ha. Funny you should ask that, because let's go here. Also, I'm going to reload a different level. I do not like this. I mean, I like Octagon, but it's not bright enough yet. Also, Neck, am I passing Octagon to you? I'm not sure. Fix it for me. No. I'm going to load up lighting reference so we can see. I will show you Halo Infinite content in Halo 3. It is possible. What I'm about to show you is the original geometry from Halo Infinite. No mesh alterations were done. I was able to convert the textures with my PBR guide. And, yeah. I will say, though, you can't release Halo Infinite mods in the tools. So, while you're allowed to do it well, you're not really allowed to do it personally, but since it's my own personal work, I'm not sharing with anybody. It shouldn't be Something that 343 kicks me in the pants for. So, let's get in here. Oh, I left the Halo 5 assault rifle. Silly me. Probably wasn't done with it yet. Some cursed content coming up here, fellas and ladies. First thing I did when I get mod tools was spawn 80 forklifts, then crash the tools. Nice. Nice. I will show you a Halo Infinite asset. And what's better to show than Master Chief himself? I don't think I broke this. I might have. I think I did, actually. There's different textures used. But there he is. There's Halo Infinite Master Chief. This was a pain in the ass to set up. And it's definitely broken in some areas. But it's here. I think I like the textures I used before. I did a new texture pass on it. But I never went back and, like, touched it up again. But there he is. It's the original geometry and all. Problem is, Halo Infinite uses a stupid procedural infinite, or procedural, not infinite, procedural material shit that's really annoying. So converting it to Halo 3 takes forever. So there you go. There's the cool cat himself. Hopefully I switched my stream over. I did, thankfully. Good. Can you release the Halo 5? Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, I skipped a couple questions. What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? I feel like I'm sitting at the nerd's lunch table right now. Thanks. I'm glad to make you feel like that. Hey, Bean, can I import the Gauss Sniper? I mean, I have no motivation to do it, but it doesn't mean I won't do it in the future. Who knows? Who knows? Did I get the height maps? I don't think this is using the height maps, unfortunately. I wish it did. And I wish I could find it, because that wasn't included in the blend file that I used. Earlier said there's a tool that automatically changed bone names, right? It should be in CE Reclaimers, I think. If you ask, somebody might be able to have it and give it to you. Let's see. Can you release Halo 5 stuff? No, you cannot. So Halo 1 through Halo 2 Anniversary is the only things that you can share. So I can port stuff from Halo 2 Anniversary into Halo 3. I can't share Halo 5 content. And people obviously were going to ask, like, why do you do it then? It's just learning. I'm just trying to learn the process, and I just think also it's cool to see it in the game. But at the same time, I also like showing that what's possible with these engines. These assets that we're staring at were only made in the last 7 years. Maybe more. But still, this is an engine that's now 15 years old. So, pretty neat. Pretty cool. Halo 3 is timeless, Neck. You are right. Hey there, Invader. How would you compare the ease of use of these newer mod tools versus the custom edition tools? Haven't used them yet and haven't checked out your past streams yet. Okay. I've only used custom edition tools like once, and that was for that Halo Infinite Master Chief video cutscenes I did in Halo 1 long ago. And even then, Altus in the Halo community, Halo modding community, he helped port that for me. All I did in that was open the tag editor and change the biped. So I don't have a lot of Halo Custom Edition experience, but what I do know is, coming from years of Unity, it wasn't too bad. You do have to get past the fact that you are compiling with a console command and you are doing a couple stuff, but the community has made this really kind of simple in a lot of aspects. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that has been streamlined. So I think it's once you get the hang of it, you can get pretty fast, and they're fun too. once you know what you're doing, and you understand the limits, you'll get familiar. You will get familiar with error codes. You'll get familiar with limits the engine has, but you'll also be familiar with tricks, tips from the community. Honestly, going to CE Reclaimers Discord, type in your question into the search bar or keywords that might be related to it. 99% of the time, you'll find the answer. So, yup. Hey Hawk, how you doing, my man? How do I download more RAM? I don't know if I can answer for you. So many people cannot know the true power of downloading RAM. Casually shows Fred. My bad. That was from another stream. If you didn't watch the Fred stream. Who pulled the model? Was it you or someone else? This is from the Halo archive. They had a Halo 3 or Halo Infinite Master Chief blend file. That's what I worked off of. Tool is very much cool to see all the console commands running through and compiling stuff. If only I can make it green. I would hop into the mod tools though, guys. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get your toes wet and create content, because it's only uphill from here. You know what, Oyster? I would be more than happy to show you how to import a bitmap. I know people have asked forever for that. I hope actually, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but if there's someone in chat or in the comments later who wants to timestamp certain parts of this video for people to learn what we talked about in this tutorial stream, that would be great. But since I'm lazy, hoping someone else could do it. But yeah, let's go into importing bitmaps. So let's go here. Okay, use the Soyos first and foremost, because if you're still trying to type in console commands, I'm sorry, but we don't do that here. We are trying to make things simple. Yeah, Control F and any issues that you have in the Halo mod Discord, and you will find them. And Halo CE Reclaimers. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so we're gonna do Halo 3. It works for Halo Reach as well. So you have your data folder for your content. So let's say I have a weapon. We'll go into my bean folder. That's my hierarchy. I go to my weapons, rifle, and let's say I want to do the Halo 5 assault rifle. So here's my main root directory for everything that gets compiled for the tags folder. Remember, there's two folders. You have your data folder and your tags folder. Data is all the pre-compiled content. Tags is the compiled content the Halo engine reads. We have a couple folders here, but we want to focus on this one called bitmaps. That's what a Soyos will look for to compile these textures. So here's what we got. Here is the defuse of the assault rifle. It's a TIFF file. That is extremely important. The engine will only compile .tiff. I know it also compiles now .dds, but I recommend you just use .tiff. So you put your texture that you want in the bitmaps folder, and then you go over here and you go to import bitmaps. So you go to browse, that's right there, and then you go to that same location. You go to the bitmaps folder and just select the image. Open. You have options for different types of bitmaps to import. You can do a 3D texture, a cube map, sprites, an interface texture, and then just click import bitmap. So we'll do that. I don't think it should do anything crazy, but as you can see, Tool's compiling the bitmaps, and it tells you right now, one bitmap imported as defuse map, one as a ZBrush bump map. Bada bing, bada boom. You press any key to close, and that closes the console window right there. So we go back to Gorilla. And now, if you hit F5, so if we want to go to the Halo 5 assault rifle, we go here. Here's our folder. We hit F5. You might see a new folder pop up called bitmaps. Lo and behold, you have a new tag called .bitmap. You double click it, There's a lot of important properties in here. I'm not going to go into too much of it, but I like to have the curve mode set to pretty because it makes my bitmap look less compressed. And I also like to use 24-bit color. It will make the file size a teensy bit bigger, but you shouldn't have any color compression issues. You're going to get default settings that are probably going to say choose best and default compression. The usage, this is a diffuse map, a regular normal texture. You have different types of textures that you can set. It's important if you're using a normal map, a modern normal map from modern games, use ZBrush bump map, not bump map from height map. Don't get confused. So you can also click show bitmaps. It'll load. And this 2K texture is possible to be loaded into the texture in Gorilla. And you can see the colors. You can also see alpha channel if you have it. That's really though if you're using the old school specular setup. So we kind of covered that. Now let's go into actually applying it to the model. Now let's go to that folder. Let's go to the model real quick, just so I can show you what's going on. We'll go to Halo 3, go to data, beam, go to your weapon. So I have the Halo 5 assault rifle. Here's my blend file. I always like to save my blend files in these directories so you know what to work with. So here's your gun. Now here's what's important. So you can see right here, I have a material called assault rifle. There's a symbol behind it. That is the closing parenthesis symbol, but for Halo, that's called precise. That tells the engine, hey, don't weld vertices and don't try to optimize this model. I want this detail. Do not crush this detail. Make sure you have that symbol or else your model's going to have a lot of brokenness. What the hell did I say? Brokenness? It's not even a word. Anyways, brokenness. So you have your model. You make sure you define these materials. Cool beans, right? However, when you export that model and re-import it into the engine, let's go to our tags folder. So there's the data folder. We'll keep that open in the background. We want to go to where the Halo 5 assault rifle is now. We'll go here. Shaders. You need to have the name of this correct. You make a folder called shaders, and most of the time I end up copying shaders that I use that are pretty similar. So if I had a gun shader from another gun, I'll bring it over. I need to rename this assault rifle underscore rifle or assault underscore rifle dot shader. Well, yeah, anyways, it needs to be the same name as this material. You don't have to have that symbol material in the name of the shader. That's not important. That's only for Blender and telling Tool what to do. You just need the name to match the material. Once you have that, then you import. Remember, this shaders folder is in your tags folder. It's not in your data folder. But when you re-import, the tool is going to find that shader, and then it will apply that shader to your asset. So you're now in Sapien. You're able to view the asset. This is the Halo 5 assault rifle. And if you go into that shader you set up, you double click it. And if you just want to get the texture, which is right here, I like to have the bitmaps folder open right here. I don't know if you can see it, but I like to Control C. So if I hit delete, so that clears that. If I hit save real quick, you can see it's, empty. If I go to copy the bitmap, I just go Control C. I click the field here, and then I could hit Control V. It then fills it with that texture, that bitmap. Save. Boom. You now have applied a texture to a working shader for your model. Hopefully that helps you, Oyster. Olympus, that's a good question. It'd be interesting to see the Halo 3 Elite model on the Reach skeleton, but that would take a lot of work to get set up. So I'm hoping somebody has the brain power and the insanity to do so. Aye, bada bing. Yes, you always gotta say bada bing when you're modding Halo. Yes, it can do more than a TIFF file. Don't do .tiff with 2 Fs. It should be just .tif, if I recall. Yes, use .tif, not .tiff. Yes, you can copy and paste. It's so funny, like the little things that nobody knows. But I guess that is another niche thing somebody was asking earlier. You can hit Control C, and you can paste into the field that you want to copy the information. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, Invader. The ease of tools for someone who has custom edition experience. You're gonna have a great time. There's a lot of limitations that have been removed, but yeah. Everything from Halo 1 to 3 is pretty much the same generation of engine. Halo Reach definitely started doing things a little different. You should have an easy time, though. You can play your level in Sapien now. You don't have to compile a map to test a map anymore. You can just play it in Sapien. So, okay. Hey Chip Snapper, how you doing? Can I go over the MCC PBR shaders? I need more water. And no, you don't have to animate your drop ships. You can just set up points. That's true. Keep the helpful comments coming for this guy. It sounds like he needs to drop in. I just learned that I can copy ODST shaders and tags into Halo 3. Yes, you can. However, please save those files, like save as the same file name, just so the engine writes that version of .shader.bitmap. It just makes it better. Let me get some water, and then we'll explain the PBR shader. You can never go too wrong with having water. You know what? That's another thing you need in modding Halo. Glass of water. Stay hydrated. Okay, let's go over PBR. Okay. So the Halo 3 MCC PBR shaders. Okay, let's see. What do I want to use for this? I want to use... I know exactly what I want to use. Do I know exactly what I want to use? I don't know. Let me think. Let's see. I do know how to use. I think. Okay, let me see. I want to change something real quick on the assault rifle. Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. Get this in better lighting, question mark? Okay. All right. So if you don't know, earlier in the stream I was talking about it, but I wrote a guide to convert assets that are already existing in PBR to what the Halo 3 MCC PBR shader is. Disclaimer, it's not true PBR in Halo 3. It's an approximation. It isn't like the way it's usually done, but it provides great looking content if you can set it up correctly. Thankfully, with my guide, you should be able to do it pretty smoothly. So let me just grab my handy dandy. There we go. Oh, and son of a gun. Oh. There we go. I didn't want to do that, but okay. All right, so let me open the chat back up. My bad. Damn it. Keeps making me click on this image for some godforsaken reason. All right. So, Halo 3's PBR. You've got cool content in Halo 3. You can do a lot of cool modern stuff. Thankfully, they've included the shader because of the skins in Halo 3. I'm sure 343 Industries and whoever they've contracted to make the skins has a Substance, I think they use Substance Painter or Quixel. They have a preset probably to export assets. However, I feel like I might have found a method, at least my method, utilizes shader better. Not saying it's better than 343's, 100%, but the problem is their shader settings, and I even say it here, they're not consistent across all the new assets that use PBR in Halo 3. So I tried to basically create something that is standardized. If you read the guide, I show you basically how to take existing textures, combine them into creating a readable control map for Halo 3's PBR shader. You end up with this blue and pink shader that basically defines the metal roughness of the asset. Also, Chip, you better still be here, buddy. We're talking about this. I go over converting normal maps. I talk about the bitmap settings that I used. That's all here. But I think what I want to break down more is the shader settings that I've set up here and kind of tell you what you do and don't need. So this right here really should be what you start with. This is very baseline. This is very standardized. Every asset that I make and show you on stream or in videos or in images pretty much uses this setup. So we're going to go to the Gorilla Heel. And we're going to go to the shader. That's the exact same one for that tutorial. Okay, so let's start with the top, the categories. Albedo, default. We are only just using one diffuse. That doesn't change color. It should just be a standard diffuse texture. Bump mapping, that's standard. We don't have any extra detail maps on it. We just have a normal map right there. We don't have any alpha reflections. We don't have any, or not alpha reflection. We don't have any alpha cutout information. So alpha test is set to none. We don't have a specular mask. If you check this, you can get a specular mask from a texture or from a color texture. That's not what we're using. So we check no specular maps. This right here is huge. Cook Torrents PBR maps. This tells the engine, yes, I'm using a PBR shader. Normally it's either Cook Torrents or 2-lobe or even diffuse only, but you want this one right here. Environment mapping, dynamic. Halo 3's on a modern computers now. We can use dynamic environment mapping. That basically means update the Q maps in real time on the asset. The pre-baked Q maps. It's not an actual real-time reflection. Self-illumination, not for the shader, but that basically means if you have an illumination texture. Blend mode, opaque. We're not trying to blend anything. There's no parallax for this asset. It did not come with any height map information, but if you were to use it, you would use interpolated. That's the more advanced way. It wasn't used a lot in Halo 3 because, again, it's an Xbox 360. Miscellaneous. It is in first person sometimes, this shader. So we need to set that flag. No distortion, no soft fade, and no miscellaneous animation attributes. Albedo. If we check this diffuse, we don't have a specular texture in the diffuse. That's what you would see normally in Halo 3. But also, by the way, it's loading really slow because this is a 4K texture. That's right. You can import textures that are 4K. Not just 1K, not just 2K, 4K. Normal maps, 4K. It'll work. Welcome to modern gaming. But yeah, you can see here's the merged diffuse and ambient inclusion map. Diffuse. Wait, I meant to say merged albedo and AO map. Whatever. No specular map is set in this though. We go to our normal map settings. We're just using that. Double click. Show bitmaps. It's going to look yellow here, I think. Or this weird color. But that's just how Halo 3 reads the normal data. Like a proper modern engine. Proper modern engine. What am I even saying? It's just basically how modern engines do it. Okay. I'll get more. Okay. Material model. Important. This is what we need to talk about. In Halo 3, this is where you define your shader's values. Is it more diffuse? Is it more specular? Does it have more of a roughness value? Does it use more of the environment? So what I found with the PBR shader is changing the diffuse and specular coefficient does nothing. Changing the specular tint color and the Fresnel color does really nothing. I mean, hold on a second. Let's just go here real quick. Let's say, I guess I make this red. Doesn't change it. If I go back to white, doesn't change it. If I go here, make this red, save, go back here, doesn't change. These don't do anything anymore. They're just leftovers. You probably could have more control if you set the albedo blend to, like, I don't know, 0. See, look, see, now that has that. You go here, you make that red. That actually didn't do anything, so maybe you don't. Again, you don't have to worry about it. Roughness. This doesn't really matter anymore because when you check use material texture, it's going to use the roughness that's defined in your spec roughness control map. Mike is correct, or MDGZ in chat. Not every PBR setup is the same. There's different PBR standards in the industry, but this is basically baseline metallic roughness conversions. Play with it with what you can. Yeah. So, where was I going? Getting distracted. Let's see. Oh, here we go. So, these three. These bad boys right here. These are actually making a difference in the shader. You have area specular contribution. If I set it up to 7 real quick. It makes the specular use more of the color, I believe. Beyond that, though, looks nasty. So I always set that 0.20. Looks good. You know, you go in there, you can see it's got those flakes of metal being worn off, being broken as usage is increased. It looks like this thing has actually seen battle. Take care, Oyster. Analytical specular contribution. If I set that to 7, I believe that changes... Oh, how shiny it is. Way too shiny. But again, based on your asset, you want to make it shiny? Go right ahead. But I give you these base settings. It'll most likely match with what you're trying to achieve. So nice, good bloom right there. Visual bloom, sorry. Environmental map specular contribution. This is how You think Master Chief's visor, you know how you can see it's reflective of the environment? The dullness of it, if I change this to 0, you can see it doesn't really show the environment around it. It doesn't show what the Q map, the baked Q map shows. But if I set this to 10, look at that. It really captures the environment around it. Gets all the color information. But we want to keep that at 1 for the most part. For my Halo 5 ports on the visors, I set that to 2. I just find it the more reflective looking visor looks real nice. Order 3 area specular. This is a more advanced specular method. We want to check it. We want to make sure we're using the most advanced that Halo 3 has to offer. Use material texture. You've got to have this checked, because if you don't have this checked, this texture that you have here, which is basically saving your ass for this asset, is not going to do anything. If I uncheck it, what the hell? It looks nasty. Check it again. Oh my goodness, there it goes. Much better. You probably really didn't see much of a difference on stream, but I can see. You'll see these filtering modes, by the way. I didn't really cover these. But it's the... Oh, Mike, help me out. I know what it's called. It's filtering. It's like anisotropic filtering. I can't speak English. But basically, the higher, the more detail. Oh, thank you, Arthur, for the $5. Is there a way to apply a PBR shader to basically everything in New Mombasa in ODST? Yes. You just have to change the shader to PBR, and you have to use your... So, as a texture artist, you could use... There is... Sorry, I don't mean to get off track. Grim has released a Halo 2 anniversary texture pack, PBR texture pack for God, I can't speak English today. To use the PBR shader for Halo 3 and ODST. He made a pack. However, I believe in this pack, he included source substance files that should automatically convert everything that I would have to do in Photoshop right in Substance. Not 100% sure. However, you basically have to do this method I've showed you. I will link you the guide in chat right now. You have to do this for every texture, every shader that exists. So let me get you that real quick. There you go. There's good old Beans PBR guide right there. But let's get back to this real quick. Sean, where were you a moment ago? Hey, buddy. But anyways, like Mike says, anisotropic filtering is used to look of textures and materials at a distance. So I did set it here to expensive just so it looks nice in renders and everything, but maybe you shouldn't do it. You just keep it at 3. Master Chief is set to 3 in Halo 3, so it should be pretty good. Albedo blend, as I showed you earlier, if you set that to 0, you'll get this monstrosity. It looks terrible. So what you're essentially doing is you're trying to merge the diffuse and specular together to create a harmony looking shader. That's a terrible explanation of what albedo blend does, but it does change the amount of shaders that information you're using right here and setting it to what the diffuse. Oh wait, yeah. So it just takes the diffuse that is set up and defined, and it also takes the specular that's already set up and defined and just combines them. If you set them to 1, it should try to make them as you should see them in another renderer. But if you want more, like if you want the cube map, let's say if you had Master Chief and he has a cube map visor, you want that sucker to show more, you want to maybe set that to 0.1, stuff like that. But for all intents and purposes, try to keep this at 1. There is an option right here called spec tint map. I don't cover this on my PBR guide because I really haven't set a defined method for it. But if you ever heard of PBR colored specular, that is essentially specular maps that store color data for reflections in PBR shaders that, of course, support that. Halo 2 Anniversary single player uses this a lot. So Master Chief's armor should reflect a little green tint. That's where this comes in. You would take the colored texture, specular texture, and you put that there, and it would essentially give off that color in the reflection. So we don't use that here though for metallic roughness in my setup because it's not needed, and it wasn't in the original shader to be, or in the original texture setup to begin with. Environment mapping. Yes, I will. I will post that in a second, Mike. Last bit, environment mapping. This is important. I don't really go too much into it on the guide, but it tells your shader how reflective it is. Now, I know I said environmental map shows how reflective it is, but environmental map basically shows how much of the environment is showing on the asset. This roughness scale shows how, like is it a mirror or is it a rough mirror? So, water is a mirror, sort of, kind of. It's very reflective. But obviously, back of the cell phone, that's not really reflective. You could see some color. The light is bouncing off of it, but it's pretty flat. Set that for flatness. I put that at 10. You can see right there, it dulls it. If I want to set it to 0, and maybe I want to change the color of it to white. Hold on, let me copy the color so I don't lose the color data. A little difficult to see on this model. But you can see right there. And it zooms out, of course. But yeah, I found with Spartan Lock in Halo 5, he is really shiny in a lot of scenarios. In my original setup, it was way too shiny. Oh, I'm sorry. He was a little duller in Halo 5. In my setup here, as is, he was a little too shiny. So I brought that to like a 10. And I think I set it to a darker blackish color. And that made it a little less shiny, reflective. Oh, thank you, Sean. If you're not following chat, Sean just posted the Delta Halo PBR pack that Grim made. It should, if I click it real quick, take a look. Let's see here. Yep. Hold on. Let's see. Let me look at the mega file. I want to see if he has the source file information. Oh no, I can't preview it. So yeah, I take a look at that pack if you're interested in Delta Halo style textures, but I swear I could have sworn that Grim said he was going to include some stuff, so it should have some useful information in there. Because essentially it takes all that converting process that I go into in my guide, streamlines it. There's definitely more to it though. Linear color space and gamma color space are a huge factor in metallic and roughness. I haven't been able to update the guide to say, you know, what color space you should set certain things to, but for the most part, it should be okay. But just play around with that. But that's pretty much it on the PBR stuff. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know. But yeah, Arthur, you have to basically change each shader in New Mombasa. At that point, I would just remake New Mombasa in your own modeling program. You like make your own assets with it, with PBR, and just do it that way. So you're welcome, Chip. I'm glad to have helped. Shooting the coveys. I don't have an ammo counter set up. I don't know if I have it rigged in first person. Hold on a second. Oh wait, I do. Ha. All right, you'll have it. Hold on now. Hold on, I can't find the freaking area. Here it is. Again, you can hit control, you can click in this field. After you hit copy, you can hit paste. Works wonders. Yeah, I haven't spent too much time for the first person stuff, for animations, but Oh, I'm sorry, Mythical Rewards. I did see that you asked that question. Do you think Blam will release, or 343 release Blam source code? No. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Was I still focused on me? My bad. Thank you, Sean. Here's the assault rifle. I just like the way the light bounces off of it. I think it looks nice. Oh. I don't know if I baked PRT on it though, so it might not have self-casting shadows. Yeah, Sean's right. Any first-person related questions? Ask him. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't think 343 will be releasing source code for a while. That's still a lot of the stuff they are selling uses it, so. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I should have another asset in PBR that I want to show off. I don't know. Let me check real quick. Let's see. Let's see. Oh. Now I have to set all that up. Again, I do have. What do I have? Leto Chief. Yeah, I still use. It's still an old port of the Marcus Leto Chief. I know Chip's working on a new one if he wants to send it my way, so I can do the PBR shader. But I guess he can just do that now. I will do shader work if someone does the rigging, but yeah, here's my Marcus Leto with no hands. This is not my model port. That is Space Zed. He did this originally, and I helped with the shaders. Well, originally helped with shaders, but that was way before I did PBR stuff. So, ta-da! It definitely needs some TLC though. I think it looks pretty dandy, if I do say so myself. All right, it is 10:30. Jesus Christ, guys, how do you guys keep me up so late? Ay, ay, ay. Well, hopefully somebody timestamps this, because I kind of don't want to. No, I will have to eventually, but hopefully there's a great comment person out there and someone who was watching the stream who will timestamp it. Oh yeah, any last minute questions, guys? I'm gonna try to log off here because I got work in the morning. Just let me know. Yeah, thanks, Sean. Yeah, Arthur, if you have any questions, just let me know too. Oh, cool. Need the bridge of an amberclad. Ooh. Really going all out with that map, huh? It's how to do that. You gotta rip it from... Oh, well, there you go. Sean's got you. All right, guys. Thank you for joining the stream. I don't know what I'm going to do next stream. I kind of want to make a stream to force myself to release some tags that I have not released, and I'd like to release so I can get them off my back. But yeah. And you know, Sean's talking about his first person rig. Maybe we can do a stream where I try to animate something in first person I've never animated in my life, or at least something at least decent. But he's got a pretty cool first person rig that should be hopefully work from Halo 1 to Halo Reach. So if you have any cool content that you're trying to make, I'd be ready for this rig, because it's probably going to be very helpful for a lot of people. So yeah. Alright guys and gals, thank you for joining me tonight, and I look forward to hanging out with you on the next Beancast. So deuces.